Welcome to today's episode of the Group X podcast. I'm your host, Tony Zanato. If you're enjoying the podcast and would like to keep up to date with when each episode goes live, then head on over to Instagram and follow us at GroupX_podcast. Today I'll be talking to James Brennan, trainer and presenter for Les Mills Age Pacific. Self-assessing, are you doing it? If not, why not? What are you afraid of? James gives us some very helpful tips around self-assessing. So grab your favourite beverage, sit back and enjoy the show. James, welcome to the Group X podcast, mate. It is good to see your face.
You too, Tony. Thanks for having me.
Mate, it's a pleasure. I'm
really
so
looking forward to this.
Me too, mate. I think, as our listeners know, from most of the people that I'm interviewing, and you're in that category as well, I know you, but I don't know you. Yeah, I know you as in, you know, we've spoken in passing and that kind of stuff. But for me to actually sit down and chat to you in this one-on-one environment, I'm excited for, because I get to know you guys a hell of a lot better. And right now, I've got you for the next hour and a half, and I'm going to thoroughly enjoy pumping you with some questions and finding out a little bit more about you and where you are in life and everything. It's going to be good.
Oh, but deep and meaningful. So let's go.
Watch out, he says. Anyway, let's kick it off. Let's go right from the beginning, mate. How did you get into the fitness industry? Where does your journey begin?
My journey began back in a little town in New Zealand, Wellington. I was in the Royal New Zealand Ballet, and we were sponsored by Les Mills.
Oh, wow.
And we had free gym membership. They had rehearsals, dress rehearsal shows, and we obviously used their facility to stay fit outside of dancing. So that journey began, and with group exercise, I used to go and participate in all these people's classes. And I swear the instructor would notice every time a group of dancers would come in, they'd be like, oh, crap, here we go.
I love it. And I didn't realise that you were actually from New Zealand. I thought you were an Aussie boy.
I am an Aussie boy.
Okay.
I grew up in Newcastle, New South Wales.
Yep.
Moved to Melbourne, went through Australian Ballet School, joined Australian Ballet, went to Singapore Dance Theatre, then eventually made my way to New Zealand, and then lived there for a decade.
No way.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I have a little bit of a Kiwi twang in there at times.
So your introduction to fitness was through dance then, you would
Correct.
say? Yeah. Okay. So how did you get into actually teaching classes? How did you evolve from, and I suppose the question I should be asking, are you still involved with dance and the ballet at the moment?
Ballet, I'm not involved with it outside of the Les Mills Bar.
Yep.
Outside of that, no. Getting into teaching classes, I was actually approached in New Zealand to train in body balance. And at the time, I had just retired from dancing. I was like, oh no, I don't want to do that. It's too close to ballet, and I don't want to do that. My headspace wasn't in the right frame of mind at that point in time. So I wanted to go hardcore. I wanted to do pump. I wanted to lift heavy shit and just do the opposite of what ballet was.
Yeah. Yep.
So I was about to do the training. Caroline Jenkins was the GFM in Wellington Extreme at that time.
Yeah.
And I said to her, look, I'm about to move back to Australia, so I wouldn't feel right about going and doing a training and not being able to follow through. So when I moved back to Australia, I went and did a body pump module.
Awesome. How was that module? How was your first training module that you did? Take me on a journey.
It was ludicrous. That's all I can say.
An awesome descriptive word. I love that.
It was crazy. It was jam-packed. There were, it was capacity. It was beyond what we do now of like the 15, 16 people. I swear it was like just over 20.
Yep.
Uh,
Yep.
Donnie Donnie Green was my IMT trainer,
Okay.
and uh, it, drill sergeant.
Yep.
Great skills, and he was direct and to the point, which resonated really well with me coming from ballet background.
Yes.
It's all like, right, you
Right.
have to do it
Yeah.
this way, you have
Yep.
to do it this way, and I'm
Yep.
like, okay, cool,
Yep.
cool, um, that works. And then we got to the bloody challenge on day 2, and he's like, we're gonna go do a run. I'm like, oh God, I don't run. What the hell is this? And we're running up. Okay, I'm just gonna casually jog and hope my knees don't die underneath me. And then we get back into the club, and I'm like, oh my God, that's the worst part. Then we're lifting weights. I'm like, okay, this
I
is
can do
fine.
that. Yep. Yep.
This is fine.
When was this? How many years back are we
Oh my
talking? You
God,
did
this
pump training.
is 2009.
Okay. Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
So not too long ago, but also at the same time
No.
not going back decades upon decades
No,
ago.
no, just
Yep.
just a decade or a
Yeah,
bit.
a little bit. Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. So had you'd obviously done ballet stuff, which correct me if I'm wrong, is in a way pre-choreographed. Yeah, you need to know your routine. You need to know what you're
Correct.
doing. It's something you've got
Correct.
to learn. So was it? How did you cope with pre-choreograph and learning pre-choreograph with
Easy.
Les Mills? Was you picked it up
Easy,
fairly?
yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Because yeah, we had choreography thrown at us
Yeah.
all the time as
Yep.
a dancer. You have to learn it on the spot
Yep.
to be prepared to be thrown in to fill in for someone.
Yep.
They're understudy or they're not around or they're injured. So
Yeah.
it's like,
So,
right,
right, you're in. Yeah.
you're the person doing it. You've got 20 minutes to learn a whole ballet or
Yep.
whatnot.
Yep.
You're like, okay, I kind of know it.
Yeah.
Can we go over these parts?
Yep.
All right, yeah. So
Yep.
picking up choreography has always been relatively easy.
Yep. Yep.
There are some choreography moments where you go, oh crap, how am I going to learn that? That's a lot. What? and then you find your way.
Yep.
And you know, one of the things that really works for me is identifying a pattern.
Yes. Yep.
And anyone who's listening that is just new as an instructor, find a pattern. Find a pattern
Find
in the choreography,
Yeah.
and best way to learn.
Yep. Yep.
Best way to learn.
So how many programs are you trained in at the moment? So you started with pump.
I started with pump, then I trained in body balance because I couldn't keep away from it.
Yeah.
And then CX Works as it was then.
Yes.
And then when I was on the team and bar came out, I obviously did the boot camp for that.
Yep. Cool. And
So-
what are you trainer and presenter in at the moment? Which of those programs are you on the team
At the
for?
moment, I am team coach for Les Mills Core and
Yep.
Les Mills Bar,
Yep. Brilliant.
and I'm presenter and advanced trainer in all 3 of my programs of core, balance, and bar.
And bar. Awesome. So are you teaching pump anymore, or have you pushed pump to the side?
Pump got pushed to the side because brain space
Yep.
didn't allow for it.
Yep.
Amongst my normal day job as well. So that got pushed to the side, and I'm teaching the other 3 programs
Brilliant.
currently.
Brilliant.
And I'm also trained in Pilates and personal trainer. Not so much personal training anymore.
Yep.
Again, don't have the bandwidth
Yeah.
amongst everything else I'm doing.
Yep.
So
what you mentioned, you alluded to there, a full-time job. What do you do for your full-time gig?
full time, I am one of the Victorian regional managers for Fitness and Lifestyle Group
Oh, cool.
for
Okay.
Group Fitness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So you look after a couple of the gyms in and
Well,
around.
I look after the central region in Victoria, which includes both Good Life clubs and Fitness First.
Sweet. Brilliant, mate. See, there you go. There's something that I didn't know as well. I knew you were in the industry, but I didn't know as to what level that you had outside of your Les Mills stuff. So that's cool.
Yeah.
That's interesting to know. That means there's some good questions I might be able to ask you later on then in relation to Group X management stuff, which I think you will probably have some experience and some knowledge on. So I'll park that for now and we'll come back to that. This is the Group X podcast. What was the first ever program that you taught? Was it a pump class?
Yes.
How did it go for you? You've done your module training. How was your first class that you taught alone? Not that you shadowed or team taught with someone, that you did all by yourself.
It was 2 days after my initial module.
There's the deep end. Wow. My goodness.
2 days.
How did it go?
Except for one track, it went okay. Everyone moved.
Yep.
One track, I completely crashed and burned. But we could talk about that. But the other tracks within the class went well. Yeah. Did I feel like I gave a great experience in relation to my knowledge now? Probably not. No. But,
no one was injured during the filming of this.
Exactly. No. It was.
Mate, I think that's pretty impressive. 2 days after module training, so that's like finishing Sunday and then getting in there Tuesday, to go.
Yeah. It was a 6:05 body pump class in the morning.
Look, the good thing about it being in the morning as well is that you're doing it without realizing you're awake. So
exactly.
Yeah. So that's wow, mate. Well done. It took me. I think it even took me a week or two before I even got on the bike after doing module training because I needed it to sit. I needed to decipher everything before I then went, oh shit, okay. You know what? Yeah. I can put this together. I can give this a shot and do it. But mate, well done. And we're having only one track that was a bit of a car crash. Hats off to you, man. Hats off.
Look, I put it down to just the years upon years of being thrown in and doing choreography without having to have to overthink it.
Yep.
Before that class and that initial module, had I heard my voice over a microphone? No. Did I like it?
No.
I hated it.
Oh dear. That brings me back to this podcast and when I first started, the first couple of episodes, and I'd go and edit and I'd be listening to my voice for another hour or two afterwards, I would cringe because it's listening. Yeah, there's no music here. It's just my voice. It's just us. So I totally respect where you're coming from with that because it takes a little bit of getting used to hearing yourself in that environment that you're not used to. Yeah, you have a conversation with someone, you hear it, but you don't hear it back again, and then you have that, oh God, do I really sound like that? Yeah. Wow. Yeah. There's a reason why I spent as much as I did on a microphone to make my voice sound even better. You've got to go, yeah, okay, we've got to fine tune this. So how was so Pump was your first program you trained in. What was the next one you went and did?
Body balance.
Balance. Okay. How was training for balance? How was that experience? Tell us a bit about that.
Balance training, I feel I went into that putting a lot of pressure on myself. The expectation that I had to do it a certain way because of my background in movement.
Interesting.
And obviously that's a self-perceived expectation that I put on myself.
Yeah.
That created little roadblocks for me along that journey.
Yep.
It still was close enough, but not too far away from retiring from ballet.
Yep.
That there was a love for the program, and I really wanted to train in it and share that experience with people in classes.
Yeah.
But there was also that inner battle with the program.
Yep. What how am I going to ask this? What helped you overcome that?
I think I had a great trainer.
Yep.
It was Francesca.
Yes.
And my mentor at the time was my ex-husband.
Okay.
So
Yep.
that
Yeah. Yep.
was my husband at the time. So
Yep.
I
Yep.
knew how to bring out the best in me and know where my weaknesses were,
Yeah. Yeah.
and knew where to be supportive.
Mate, that's awesome. And thank you for sharing that, because I know that some people, sometimes that can be a little bit of a ouch point to go down, but I appreciate you being honest and open with that as well. But it's also good that it's something that you are aware of how you overcame it as well. And I think that's, if there's a message I try and get listeners to take away when having these conversations, is that you will always come up against challenges, but it's how we deal with those challenges and move past them. And we also don't let those challenges define who the hell we are. Yeah, it is just something we go through, and you know, again, so thank you for sharing that. I do appreciate it. Do you enjoy teaching balance?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. It gives me an opportunity now. The evolution of James as
Yep.
a
Yeah.
instructor,
Yep.
has set me in a place where I feel, well, let's face it, when we all start teaching, it's a little bit about us.
Yep. Totally.
Like
Totally.
we're all in
Yep.
that space of like, oh, I'm on stage, look at me.
Yep.
And you get to a point where you're like, hey, it doesn't really care what the hell I'm doing up here.
Yeah.
It's all about you.
Yep.
And once that clicked over, that it's not, oh, me being back on stage again, because that whole thing died probably 6 months into me starting my instructor journey. I was like, hey, no, this isn't about me being a performer on stage.
Yep.
It's actually about creating an experience for the people in front of you. And that's not a show.
Yep.
It's just having a little bit of impact on helping them escape, move better, feel better, maybe even smiling. If that's the best thing that happens to them that day, great. You've changed that moment for them.
Yeah. No, I love that, because it's I remember teaching at North Sydney Fitness First. It was before I was group fitness manager. I used to teach a Wednesday lunchtime class, and it was a moment I remember so vividly of realizing that the people that were there because it was lunchtime. They wanted to train. It's the only time they could get in. You know, they've got an hour for lunch. It's a 45-minute class. Tony, don't mess about, because, you know, let's look at it. There's 15 minutes. That means 7.5 minutes to get here, 7.5 minutes to have a shower and get back to work. I've got an hour for lunch. Let's get on with it. And it was during that sort of moment of teaching those classes that I realized that, yes, it was me, but it was them as well as me. They were what was making me me, if that makes sense. And I know that sounds like talking in riddles, but it was that moment of realizing that it's not the Tony show. Tony is the platform to help these guys train and do what they're doing. The fact that I'm a cheeky smartass when I'm on a bike as well allows them to connect with me and disconnect from whatever's going on at work for that 45 or that hour that they're here. But also that gave it that fun and that environment that was there, that if it was someone else, would they have got it? Probably, but in a different way. So that was the realization for me, was it's not the Tony show. It is a little, but it's not all about, you know, I'm not that Pavarotti of me, get in here because it's all about me. It's about me, but it's more about you guys having fun with me while we're in here together doing this.
Yeah. It's a shared experience.
Yes.
And you're going through that together. It's not one more than the other. It's like, okay, we're going to do this together.
Yeah.
And this actually comes to something where something I find really annoying in the group exercise, fitness environment, where when I hear a lot of, I want you to, I need you to, from instructors, I'm like, oh, it makes me cringe and die a little bit inside, because, okay, no one in the class cares what you want.
Yes.
Let's change that language to be more inclusive of like,
Yes.
It's a simple word, but it can have such a massive impact on the way people feel.
I look at what we do as, I'm going to say Navman, but I won't use Navman. I'll say Google Maps. Yeah. We are the navigation system within Google Maps that shows you where to go. Now, Google Maps would never say, I'd like you to turn, or I'd like you to, you know, would it? It just says up here, you know, in 200 meters, turn right. So we're doing that. You know, that's probably a really silly analogy to use here, but screw it. I'm down that path, so I'm going to keep going. But,
Own it.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, you know, as we're saying, is the Google Maps is the program. Yeah. So it's RPM, it's balance, it's core, it's whatever it may be. We just happen to be the actual navigation system in that to be saying to these people, in 250 meters, turn left. You know, keep going straight for 34 kilometers or whatever the hell it may be. You know, it's that process of, it's not us. We are the tool. I'm a tool, but you're not a tool. We are a system is the right way to put that. We're a system that is allowing people to engage with us, but also know where they're going and what they're doing and what their destination is in that regards, which I think is quite powerful when you look at it in that way.
This is the Group X podcast.
Cool. So what you did balance, then what was next? So core?
Balance and then core. Core was next.
Yeah, which was CX30, you said, when you trained?
Yes.
On it?
CX Works.
CX Works. Okay.
So it had just changed from CX30 to CX Works.
Yep. So what release was that?
I trained on a release 4.
So did I.
4. Yes.
Rach and I did our training. The same release, in North Sydney. I didn't go too well with it. I had 0 core strength, and it was a great program. And I think if I had focused on it and went down the path of, doing it properly, I probably would have been able to nail it and be good. But So we saw it CX30 to CX Works. Then what was up CX Core?
Yeah, it became
Lesson was core. Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
So how was your CX training? How did that go for you? Where was that done?
That was an interesting one because it was a double sign off for the trainers.
Okay.
Because it was so new at that time.
Yep.
So Matt Sadler, who was the what name was it then? Let's say PPC. That's the only thing I can remember.
Training manager. Head training manager from head office.
CX Works. He was in charge of the program.
Yep.
So he was co-facilitating. Who did I have? It was Claire.
Yes.
And Andrew. They were being signed off on facilitating initial modules. So I had a trifecta of trainers.
Yeah.
And it was a full module here in Victoria, a really great group of people that were really supportive.
Yep.
And I just felt like that was probably one of my most memorable initial modules.
Cool.
To participate in.
Yep.
I guess that's why the program appealed to me so much more as well, because that environment that was created in the module was really appealing.
Yep.
It was a little bit competitive, but it was fun.
Yep.
It had, obviously, the science behind the program was a highlight for Matt to talk about, because that's a real strength of his, and he's understanding how bodies move.
Yes.
And his unique way of being able to explain that and capture your attention and just make you hang off every word that he's saying.
Yeah.
He could be reading a shopping list and you're like, what are you saying? What are you saying? This is gold.
Yeah. So true. So true.
Yeah.
I think he actually did the training for us as well. He and Lee Sherry from Sydney. Yeah. They were the two that went through it with us. And both of them have got a skill set that is blew my mind completely. It was, as you're saying, you hang off each word because you could walk in there and be a sponge and walk out of there being a drenched sponge because you've taken on so much knowledge from what those guys had to share. And that was what I believe was really needed, or is really needed in that program, because it's not just get on and, this is timing and this is what we've got to do. There's reasons why. There's what I believe is coaching layers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You just keep going because there's so much more you can throw into that program that needs to land in order for it to really land.
Yeah. And there are so many nuances within that program that, it's a program where you can't say something and then shut up and not talk.
Yes. Yeah.
There's so much that you
Yeah.
need to educate people on
Yeah.
and help them discover
Yes.
about themselves.
Yeah.
Whether
Yeah.
it's the challenge of it or whether it's the physicality of
Yeah.
it's never ending.
Yeah.
And I tell people when I'm training them, it's a very humbling program because
Yes.
no matter how long you've done it,
Yep.
it's still a damn challenge.
Oh God, yes. Yeah. Yep. That's I remember seeing, obviously seeing Rach teach and present that stuff, and I just look and go, damn. That's
Yeah.
I would love to have that level of strength to be able to teach it properly, but also even just participating. It pardon my language, people, but it tears you a new one every time you do it. You walk away from that
Exactly.
class. I don't think it's a program that you can ever get too fit for.
Mm.
Yeah, and it's not like you've got to be fit to go and do that program. You do that program to get fit. Yeah,
Yeah.
you that is the progress of that one. But yeah, it's interesting the when I think of even that what I just said then is when you see sales consultants giving a tour around a gym and there's Group X classes going on and you are around and you hear some of the conversations going on. I remember listening to a conversation of someone saying, some sales consultant saying, that's the cycle studio and yet you need to be fit to go in there. And it's like, hang on a second. I cringe on that because
Yep.
no. You go to Group X classes to get fit. Doesn't matter what your fitness level is. There's a level of inclusivity in every single class we have. You might not be able to do a full 1 hour pump class with, massive weights on, but that's why you've got weights. You can take them off. If you just need to do 1.25s either
Exactly.
side, you can do it. Every program we have, there are so many different levels that cater for everyone, from Nana to who's in her 80s to some youngster that's in their 16 and everything in between. They've got it. Even core, as we're saying, even though that it is an intense program, there are levels
Absolutely.
throughout the whole thing.
And that's the hardest lesson, I think, for instructors to learn, that you don't have to do all the high end levels all the
Yep.
time.
Yep.
You actually just need to take a moment, look and see who's in front of you. What do they actually need?
Yep.
What's going to help them be able to live their life outside of that door
Yeah.
better?
Yeah.
Are they going to need to lift a 10-kilo plate to do a wood chop or something like that?
Yep.
No,
Yep.
they just need to execute it well.
Yes.
They could have their hands clasped together for
Yeah.
all I care.
Yeah.
As long as they're moving well, they're
Yep.
going to get stronger. They're
Yeah.
going to feel more confident.
Yeah.
Then they're going to be more competent.
Yes.
And then it's just success.
I like those two words you just said then, confidence and competence.
Mm.
They're powerful words when you think about what we're doing and what we're doing in the Group X space, that if you give someone confidence, they're going to have the competence to do what it is. And they're little bits of connection that we can actually do when we're teaching classes to allow the, as you said, the people in front of you. Yeah. Not everyone needs to be doing squats with 20 kilos either side.
No.
If someone does a squat and they've only got 2.5 kilos either side, so what? You know what? They're actually in your class. They're training. They're moving to their ability. Yeah, we need to, as instructors, try and push them a little bit further, but it's okay if they don't want to put an extra 1.25 kilos on, or they don't want to use the I don't even know if they're using different coloured bands in CX anymore. I just remember the black and the orange, and there was, I don't know if they're still doing it, but if they only want to use the easier one, then let them. It's okay.
Exactly.
They don't need to go that top level because you as a trainer or a presenter are using that. That's what you're used to. It's okay.
Yeah.
I don't need to.
No.
Yeah.
No.
So
this is a good thing, because a lot of conversations I've been having, not necessarily in group exercise classes this past week, but in my management job.
Yep.
Big discussions that I've been having with other regionals, other states, other departments across brandings. We teach people how to fish.
Yep.
Then they can feed themselves.
Yes.
And they can do what they need. They can become autonomous in their own jobs, their own roles, their own participation in classes.
Yeah.
You just give them the skills and the knowledge to make their own well-informed choices.
Oh, really like that.
We
Teach
all
them.
make bad choices, but we can make that ourselves, right?
Yeah, I like that though. Teaching someone how to fish. When you, yeah. Sorry, that's just my mind just went on a moment. Then that is so true, isn't it? In everything, not just in Group X stuff, but when you look at life in general, anything you're doing, you can teach someone to fish. Then they've got to go out and wow. Thanks for sharing that. Yeah. That was a big mic drop moment. I really, really appreciate that. Thank you.
This is the Group X podcast.
So what was next after core? Then it was bar, yeah?
Core was bar, yeah.
Yep. How was bar training? And you're going to say, oh, Tony, that was easy. It was like a walk in a park.
It was fun, but again, the expectation I kind of put on myself as well. Not that I put a high expectation on because it had been so long since I stopped dancing. But I didn't go into it thinking, this is going to be a walk in the park type of thing, because let's face it, if I was going into a training thinking, this is going to be a walk in the park, it's like, why do it?
Yeah.
And
yeah.
Because I don't like to do things if they're easy.
Yeah.
I like to challenge myself. I like to step out of my own comfort zone, and I wouldn't have done everything I've done in my life if I was comfortable with being comfortable.
Yeah. Out of the programs you've trained in, which do you find the easiest to teach, and why?
Oh, look, if I was being honest, I don't find any of them easy to teach, because every program has its own nuance that is a challenge in its own way. I've never found it easy to teach. I've had to work really hard over the years to get words out. And feel confident with those words that are coming out, and the choices of how to deliver information. I guess my ballet background has made me, through my journey as an instructor and as a presenter and as a trainer, initially had me doing it quite drill sergeant-esque.
Okay.
And
yes.
There was a fourth wall. So I'm not a big shower of emotion naturally. I keep that to the people that are close to me, rather than, putting everything out into the world. And that's been something that I've had to work at over the years, to be able to strip down that fourth wall and just go, well, this is me. You can like it. I don't have to be everyone's friend. That's okay. Not everyone's going to like me, but you can come to my class and you know that you're going to get a great experience.
Mate, I appreciate that self-awareness. That's a huge thing that I think I'll say this, as we are not getting any younger, as we progress through life, I think there are certain things that we realize about ourselves that we either don't like, or we realize, oh, wow, I've got a wall. As you said, the fourth wall. You've let it just crumble and go, you know what, if you like me, you like me. If you don't, you don't. This is what I'm here to do, and I'm going to do it. And it's okay. You've got to be okay with it in yourself in order for others to be okay with it as well. Most of the time, I'm going to say, others probably wouldn't have even been aware that there was a fourth wall there. It's only ourselves that actually realize it, and then we come to grips or we are at ease when that actually disappears, and we're like, okay, then we go to the next level of what we're doing. Your participants or your members that are in the training group or whatever it may be, then see a different side of you, which is a level above where you were before, whether they notice it in that way or not. I think it's a huge thing. Thank you for sharing that too, because that's I think it's a powerful thing that instructors can take away. We may be doing something as instructors that we think, this is all great, but there could be something that we know about that we don't want to acknowledge just yet.
Mm, yeah.
And when you do acknowledge things change.
That's the thing. It's that self-awareness, that taking time to actually go, does it really matter? Does it really matter? Is it going to impact the way someone breathes?
Yep.
No.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Their heart's still beating. I can just tell a really bad dad joke
Yep.
and be comfortable with that.
Yes.
I'm fine with that. And
I've got a list I can send you if you want some
okay,
more.
great. We can exchange. I'll create a Google
Yeah.
document that we can share with each other and constantly build. Rach will kill me now.
No, not at all. Not at all. She knows. She cringes every day I'll come out with them, and even Leah does these days. She looks at me, she's like, Dad, that was really bad. I'm like, yep. I got a license, honey. As soon as you were born, I got a license to do dad jokes, and no one's ever going to be able to take it away from me. So, you know. So how many classes a week are you teaching at the moment? For those of you at home playing along, James has just taken his socks off.
One at a time.
Six classes a week.
Six
you're teaching at the moment.
classes. Yeah, that's all I can kind of
Mate, I understand that.
fit
With,
around.
yeah, with full-time work as well. Is that what's your breakup of classes compared to the programs that you've got under your belt?
I have three core,
Yep.
3 balance.
Okay.
The club that I was teaching bar at has recently just closed.
Oh no.
So,
Okay. Yep.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Is that's a spread over a week? Yeah, obviously spread over
Correct.
7 days.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are there? I know you should. I should never ask this question, but I love asking it because it puts everyone on the spot. You got a favourite class?
Depends on the week. No, it depends. I've got a couple of classes that have grown on me that
Yep.
when I initially agreed to take on that rostered shift, that I was like, oh, I don't know if I'm gonna like that or where that club is.
Yep. Yep.
But there's a class that I've recently taken on, a 3-minute walk from where I live, which
Brilliant.
is perfect.
Yep. Yep.
And at first I was like, oh, I don't know what to expect, but it's quickly become one of my favorite classes of the week to actually
Awesome.
teach,
Yep.
because the members haven't had the program at that club for probably about 3 years, 4 years now.
Wow. Okay.
So they've just loved it, and they've been trying everything, taking the challenge, and
Awesome.
not being afraid to just give it a go.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm good about giving them choices about, okay, if this isn't happening, try this.
Yep.
Come back with me now. You're still going to get strong. We'll get there in another
In a-
month. I
yeah.
promise.
Yep.
This is our week 7 or something of
Yeah.
doing this program.
Yeah.
So imagine where you're going to be
Yeah.
in a month's time, 2 months' time.
Nice. I like that. That's the way that we should be teaching too, isn't it? Is to give
Yes.
people options to who's in front of us, and as you said before, teach to who's in front of you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's. I had this conversation with Matt Thraxton the other week, and it was a big realization that we were having in our chat, was that you really do need to teach to who's in front of you. Now, if the group of people you have in front of you are all in their 40s, between 40 and 50, and they're not gelling with the current music, you know what? Just go back and do some of the older ones. Throw some of the new ones in, but go back and do some of the older ones so that you're going to engage them in the workout. They're still getting a workout. Don't go only back to the stuff that's body pump, go back to the 50s and don't stay there. No, you still need to keep it current. The workouts have evolved and we need to do it. And slowly but surely you build them up again and get more of those members engaged in what you're doing. Then filter in those new tracks. But it's teaching to who's in front of you that's really powerful, especially I think now as well. What Matt and I were alluding to was post-COVID, to try and get people back in.
Yeah.
Go back to some of the stuff they know. Go back to some of the stuff that they're familiar with. That's going to make them gel with, oh, yeah, I used to love this. Cool, let's do that. Let's get you back in here. Enjoy that stuff and then slowly drip feed the new ones through again to help. We know that, every state at the moment, I'm hearing and seeing different attendance across the board. Queensland, through the roof. WA, through the roof. New South Wales and Victoria, hello?
Yeah.
Did you hear crickets then? Yeah, okay.
Exactly.
We got 5 people today. Yes, and it's different.
Yeah, our expectation from prior to the last couple of years to where we are now.
Yeah.
I think a really good lesson for all of us to have learned is it's not about having it. Great if you do have a packed room,
yes.
but it's not about being that. Oh, I'm the best person because I've got 1 million people in front of me. It's just teaching well to the 5 people you have in your class, or the 2 people, or the 60 if you've got a studio that's big enough and there are people coming. It doesn't matter how many people in there. That's not with my manager hat on on performance side. But as an instructor, the whole thing is like you're creating these wonderful connections with people, and that's what it's about. It's not just the fitness business we're in. We're in the people business.
Yeah.
That's it. It's creating and establishing connections and things that resonate with people's heart.
Yeah. We're there to motivate people. We motivate people by connecting with people and giving them the results that they're after. They come to us because of all that, which is all great. Now, I think, without this sounding bitchy, so I hope I don't get anybody offside when I say this, what I believe COVID did for us was weed out those instructors that thought they were hot shit. And I'm not going to say they're shit because that's not right. But it's the instructors that were teaching a peak time slot that thought they were amazing that are now only getting 5 or 6 people. That's like, hang on a second, guys. If you were really amazing, don't you think you'd be still getting full classes? You're the same as everybody else. We're back in this. It's almost like reset.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is an opportunity for us all in group exercise space to reset, look at how we're doing things, look at what we're doing, and look at why we're doing it, to make sure that it's landing with the who that are in front of us. Because if we're not landing with the who...
what are we doing? Why are you doing it?
Yeah. You can tell straight away if you're not landing with the who because you're not getting the people coming through. Before, it's like the members of gyms before. You'd pay a membership and some of them just wouldn't ever come. And gyms were loving that. Gyms were loving the fact that, hey, I've got those sleepers that I just get your money every month. And ideally we wanted them in. And yes, all clubs do want all members active, but we know that some of the clubs that are suffering now have lost that, what I call cream of those members that were paying when just never coming through. They've had to look at really engaging all members. But this is that opportunity, as I said, to reset and go, cool, now's the time. What are we doing, or what if we're doing the same thing we were doing before and expecting a different result?
It's insanity.
Yes. Hello.
The definition of it.
Let's look at what we're doing and do it different to attract people differently, to attract those that are coming in or keep those that are coming in. As you're saying before, could be 5, it could be 6, could be 60. We need to make sure that we look after them. Stop trying to blow your trumpet and trying to, attract the people that aren't there. Focus on the people that are there. They're going to then go, and like what we did when we first started group exercise, the word spreads. Hey, come and do this class. James is amazing. He's really looking after doing this. 5 goes to 10, goes to 15, goes to 20, goes to 30. It may take 7, 8, 10, 12 weeks, but they will come back in eventually when they feel confident. I think with that, as I was saying before, with COVID, I think each state has been tarnished is the word I was using. I was going to use damaged, but no, we'll go tarnished. With lockdown and how long each of us went into lockdown for has been the result on how many people are coming back in and whether they feel safe yet or what that go is. I think slowly but surely over I'm going to say the next 6, probably 12 months, we will see more people coming back in those states like New South Wales and Victoria that had a harsher lockdown, more so for you guys in Victoria than up here. But I think it will, I've got faith that people will return.
Yes.
They will come back. Slowly.
And these are some trends that, taking my day job, for example, seeing the trending now, participation increasing.
Yep.
the what we call uptake is increasing, and the amount of people in the studios as a whole
Yes.
is rapidly increasing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is great. And of course, the weather is now starting to change.
Yep.
We're
Yep.
hitting spring, so
Yes.
people are like, "Oh, hang on."
Yep. I've had a year and a half of sitting at home eating food. Crap. Summer's around the corner.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. That realization is starting to hit home, which is, yeah, you're right. People will start coming back into gyms.
This is the Group X podcast.
How did the opportunity come up for you to be a trainer presenter? How did that? Tell us a bit about that.
There was an audition for the body balance team.
Yep.
Obviously, people move on in their lives, so there were some spaces that were available in the Victorian team.
Yep.
So Michelle Dean and Inga facilitated the audition, and there were quite a few people that were interested in auditioning for
Yep.
the team.
Yep.
So they had, I think it was 3 audition sessions. So each session had about 9 or 10 people in
Okay.
each block. So there was quite a bit
It's a
of
good-
interest to get on
Yeah.
the
Yep.
balance team. This was a while ago now, obviously, pre-COVID.
Yep.
Well and truly pre-COVID. So we did the process. It was just at then it was open to people who had done AIM 1 and AIM 2.
Yep.
Because AIM 2 was really fresh at that time.
Yeah.
Showing my age. So that's why it was open to A1s. And from that process, myself and Sarah Dunning
Yes.
were added to the balance team, and I had already been kind of in communication with Matt Sadler, trying to, say, I'm around. He remembered me from initial module.
Yep.
Lee Sherry had facilitated my AIM 1 and
Yes.
had seen me at workshops.
Yep.
So they were already saying, oh, this guy in Victoria,
Yes.
check
Yeah.
him out.
Yep. Brilliant.
So once I came on the balance team, I was able to join the core team at the same time.
Yep.
And came on as a trainer straight away.
Cool. Brilliant. Now, the role I believe at the moment, it's and you can correct me if I'm wrong here, and I could be wrong. You come on board and you are a trainer presenter. Yeah. There's not trainer / or presenter. Is that correct, or am I wrong?
Initially, people come on as presenters, and if there's an opportunity for development to become a trainer, and
Yep.
if there's space
Okay. Yep.
in
Yep.
in that program,
Yeah.
and perhaps in that state.
Okay. Cool. Righto. So you are trainer and presenter in the 3 programs you said. Yeah?
Mhm.
Yep.
Yes.
But you're also head program coach.
For 2 of them, for core and for bar.
Okay. Now, let's go down that. How did that opportunity pop up? Because that one is the one that I'm keen to know, because I've spoken to a few of the guys that have come through and gone from instructor through to trainer presenter, but haven't really gone through to that next level yet. So I'm keen to share, if you don't mind sharing, with our listeners as well, how that opportunity popped up and what that role entails for you as well.
Cool. So to lead me into the opportunity of team coach, I'd always worked quite closely with Matt when he was the head of the program.
Yep.
And then when Rach took over as well,
Yep.
I've worked really closely with both of them while they were in the role,
Yeah.
and focusing on the technique and the delivery. So I'd often consult with them and would come up with a plan of how to approach a release every quarter.
Yep.
And that had no foresight of like, oh, I'm doing this because I want this. It's like, oh no, I just love the program and I want to make sure everyone's getting the best out of it.
Yep.
And then work-life balance and stuff. Rach had some time off to do some studies,
Yep.
so I did some interim PPC or programs presenter coach
Yes.
work for her as a fill-in, and got some experience in being able to do part of the role
Cool.
and help with people's development and
Yep.
whatnot.
Yep.
And then where Rach chose to move on from being in charge of the program, I expressed my interest and went through a process of application for that.
Awesome.
So
Awesome.
that involved me putting together my case of what
Yeah.
I could offer,
Yep.
what my values are,
Yeah.
and what my beliefs or vision for the team
Cool.
are.
And how did?
And I was successful. So that worked.
Yay!
That worked really hard.
How did it come about for Bar?
For Bar, Inga was the previous head of the program, and again, work-life
Balance, yeah.
balance. She chose to focus on body balance.
Yep.
And I was working with Inga a lot with Bar since
Brilliant.
day one, and it just happened that the application time came
Yeah.
at the same time, and I
Yep.
was like, oh look,
Sure.
same thing. I'm really interested in it. I've got this strong ballet background,
Yeah.
so
It works. You fit.
yeah, it worked.
Yeah, yeah. No, well done. That's nice to hear. It's nice to know that you've got the skill, but also that they see that in you as well. You know, it's I think in a lot of the instructors that I chat to that really want to get into a position of trainer and presenter or want to have that path, which is great to have. Don't get me wrong, you need to have a goal like that. Some people don't have that self-awareness or don't see that they're not quite hitting the mark in some areas, and taking on feedback and not taking on feedback is always, I think, for some people a challenge. How feedback is given and also maybe how feedback is accepted at the same time. But nice to know that you got in there and you're doing what you're doing, because I think there's the team that I know of, I think you're the right fit for both those programs. Not that you need my my tick of approval or anything like that,
but it matters to me.
Yeah. Oh, you're funny. But no, it's nice to see the right people in the roles, and leading the team forward and taking them to the next step, the next journey on where the programs are evolving, because we know that they're evolving so much at the moment. It's not funny.
Absolutely.
The change that's coming through from the chat I had with Kyla Gates and also Sarah Ostergaard. The programs, God, if you think back to when you said 2009, I did my first training in 2003. You think back to then to where these programs are today.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
It's if they were still back in 2003, we wouldn't be around. We wouldn't be doing what we're doing. Les Mills wouldn't exist. They had to evolve, and they had to develop into what they are now, which is a good thing.
And be constantly pushing those boundaries to move forward and do something that's different.
Yeah.
And the amount of time and research and work that goes on behind the scenes that people don't necessarily take into consideration when they get their release, go, oh, how much work has actually gone into putting this release together.
Yeah.
It's not just them sitting in a room together going, oh, I really like this song. Oh, I'm just going to do these moves here.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Let's just dance around the room. There we go.
Yeah,
That's it.
yeah. Let's anyone from Les Mills head office in New Zealand that's listening, that's all you do, isn't it? James didn't say that. I did. James didn't say that. I did. I did. Right. Anyone that's listening from Les Mills International, reach out. I'd love to have a chat to you. Come on the show. Being cheeky now.
This is the Group X podcast.
Going back to what you were saying about the journey, I heard a lot of no's.
Yep.
A lot of no's. And is it pleasant to hear no's? No, it's not.
No.
It's not. But you can take those no's and you can either say, oh fuck it, I'm out, or you go, okay, that's great feedback.
Yep.
because it's never just a no.
Yeah.
It's a no, but here are some things as well.
Yeah.
And you can take that on board and go, great, this is a positive.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, it might not be now, it might not be ever,
Yep.
but you've given me feedback that I can grow not only as a person, but as an instructor,
Yeah.
as a presenter, as a trainer, as a team coach, whatever it might be, wherever you are. If it's your first week out of module, or first week out of day 3, and you're
Yep.
teaching your first class on
Yep.
Tuesday, you take what you hear from that no,
Yes.
and you can build on it.
Yep.
Take it and use it as momentum
Yeah.
to help you.
Yep. No, I like that. I appreciate that as well. That's the. I think it's the awareness thing we were talking about before. That's the any bit of feedback, whether it's good or bad, is stuff for you to learn on.
Exactly.
Stuff for you to take away, whether you agree with it or not. Doesn't matter. Someone's taken the time to give you some feedback. How about stop, get out of your pity party. I'll say for a second, but look at what they're giving
Tony's
you.
words.
Yeah. Look at what that person has said. They've obviously said it for a reason, and it's in I'll say probably 90% of the time they're not saying it to be a prick. They're saying it because they're wanting to help you. And I think in our industry, big time is what I've noticed more and more over the years is we want to hold each other up. Yeah, we're not about trying to tear someone else down and go, oh, they're shit. Those people don't last long in our industry.
No.
They really don't. They're by night they can almost disappear, and they're off timetables quick smart because Group X managers or clubs see them and go, yeah, you don't fit. You're not the right fit here. Ta-da. So yeah, go to somewhere else, whatever it may be. And most of these days, what I'm seeing is instructors, and I'll say I saw it at Les Mills Live in Melbourne just recently. The level of camaraderie between instructors that we're all sitting there wanting to be there. There's no competition. It's, you know what, we're all in this together, and if we can give each other feedback and that feedback is taken on board, we're only going to be able to lift the level of group exercise and what we're doing, which is going to then in turn help attract more people coming in, and clubs are going to be more successful. So yeah, it's that flow on effect. Yeah,
we've had enough of the, like, look at the journey the world itself has taken. We can go on tearing each other down. There have been so many fights, so many things happening in other countries that are just horrific.
Yeah.
But we can focus on the good stuff, like leave all the bad shit behind, and let's just be good humans.
Yeah.
That's it.
There's still enough shit going on in the world right now.
Oh, right.
It was weird. I watched something. I watch a lot of YouTube at the moment because I'm sick of normal TV. I'm sick of the political shit or the journalistic crap that I can't stand watching. So we don't even have an aerial on the roof anymore. I pulled it off during COVID and went, screw that, bugger off. If I want to watch normal TV, I can watch it through the internet, whatever.
Exactly.
But some of the crap that I've been watching on YouTube, but there's some of it's interesting where you realize that we're in a messed up world. There's a lot of bad shit going down around us, and there's kids out there that are going hungry. There's people that don't have a roof over their head in the middle of winter. There's a whole lot of that stuff happening, and when you look at that kind of stuff and you put things into perspective, blows your mind. It blows my mind anyway. I hope there's people out there that are the same as me, that you realise that, teaching that Monday night 5:30 class is great because the people that are in front of you, you have no idea why they're there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no idea whatsoever. There could be 5, there could be 20, there could be 60. It doesn't matter. They could be there week in, week out. You'll never know why they're there. It could be their 1 hour a day where it's their time to do whatever. All we need to do is make sure that what we deliver is spot on, it's safe, it's effective, it's going to engage them.
Yeah.
That's all we need.
I agree.
We strip back all the shit. So what if I screwed up the choreography? Oops.
Did anyone die from
No,
it? No,
exactly.
we're good.
No,
We're
yes,
good.
yeah. When you don't want to screw up the choreography is when you're a trainer and presenter and you're at a quarterly workshop. That's when people are going to go,
Different.
Tony, what did you do? Or James, what was that? Hang on a second. Why all of a sudden have we just done lunges all on one leg and we didn't swap over and do the other leg? Uh-huh.
Hang on, let me pull out the choreo notes
Yeah.
right now. You've just done one extra rep here. What's that? What's
Yes,
going on
Tony,
here?
what was going on? Yeah. The end of the day, as we know, it doesn't really matter as long as it's safe and effective. You screw it up once, I'll guarantee you won't screw it up again. Because if you've had the realization that you've done it wrong, you then realize, shit, okay, next time I teach that track, yeah, we don't just do lunges on the right leg only. We swap. So I want to have a chat to you about your full-time job that you're doing with Fitness and Lifestyle Group. What role do you hold with them?
I'm a regional group fitness manager for Fitness and Lifestyle Group in Victoria.
Yep. And what does that role entail from that high up level? So you're looking after Group X managers or you look after the individual clubs?
The Group X managers.
Okay.
So a collective group. So I have 10 GX managers reporting to me.
Yep.
There's another regional manager who has 10 reporting to him.
Yep.
And we also have a state manager who also has a couple of managers reporting to her as well.
Yep.
So we all have GX managers. So we all still have
You have your
foot
team
in the door.
Yeah.
And a big component of that is support and development for our team.
Brilliant.
So being able to support them not only with the basic operations, but support them in personal and professional development within the role.
Cool.
And that's a big focus that we came together as a state regional team. A vision for us is to develop their own individual unique skills so we can have a strong united team in Victoria that we can have little focus pocket groups that are, okay, this group of people or collective of people across the state are really great at this. This is their skill. Let's pair them all up together. Yeah. And that can be their task or their project to champion. Yep. And same with this group of people, same with this group of people. It's a work in progress. We're starting to plot out that ideas now and where we take that. Awesome. So it means that the group exercise space in Victoria has a really positive direction that we're aiming in. Yeah. And we're breaking that down. So, we've got our ultimate vision, but we're going to do little steps and implement little things here and there to achieve that greater goal.
Cool. And let me ask this question and try and answer it if you can. Are you seeing change? Are you seeing those little steps being achieved as you go along?
Yes, it's a slow process, but anything worthwhile won't happen overnight.
So damn true. I so love that analogy, that saying, because it's Rome wasn't built in a day. Uh-huh. Yeah, you've got to do small little steps. There's look at look at the Colosseum. It wasn't built overnight. That was brick by brick by brick, and so you've got to take those small steps. But I think the thing that I like hearing with that as well is that you guys have an end goal. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But it's not an end goal where you get there and then you stop. It's a goal that is forever evolving and forever moving as well. Correct. Not so that you're moving the goalpost and, oh crap, we're never going to achieve it. But if you're getting close to your goal, you need to reset another one in order to make the team continue to strive for what you're trying to do. Not only the team, the business as well, that's moving in the right direction to hit all the goals from the top down.
And being able to pivot.
Pivot. I've got to say. Pivot. The last 3 episodes of this that I've recorded with people, from Matt Thraxton to Michael Chidley to yourself, we've referred to pivot. And I think there's probably even another one with Sarah, the one before, where it's been pivot and friends. And every time I say it, I have the video image in my head of them just cracking up. I'm probably going to throw it on the end of one of these episodes.
This is the Group X podcast.
It's vital to have the goals and set them, and it's I suppose what I'm trying to get at here is it's nice nice to hear that goals are being set in the group exercise space, whether it's from the big chain that you're working at or a smaller independently owned club. I think it's vital that clubs need to have goals set. Yeah. Start with small ones. Yeah. And then move forward. A big thing that some of the clubs that I've been chatting to recently have still got the same capacity and goals as what they had prior to COVID. Now, I look at that and I think, guys, no. You can't, yes, okay, you've got 42 pieces of equipment in the room, but why are you setting that as a goal or as your capacity or your target of what you're trying to achieve in here? Drop it.
Yeah.
Drop it so your Group X space looks a bit better than what it is and is, okay, there's maybe, as an example, 42 bars in the room and you're only getting 5 people. So drop that target. It doesn't need to be what it was before. Look at how many people are coming into your centre. Look at right now who's coming into your centre as in the total group fitness attendance compared to the total swipes, and have a look at that percentage and then work with your team around ways that you can increase that gradually, as you're saying, step by step by step. Because if we're expecting the same attendance as what we had before, all you're doing is making Group X look shit in your club and making the owners turn around and go, oh, well, it's not working, let's get rid of it. It is working because you're still servicing members. But we've just got to bring those targets down, bring the capacity down. New clubs that are talking to me at Body Bike about getting new bikes. Oh, we want to replace all 37 bikes with 37 new bikes. I'm like, are you getting 37 people to a class now? No. So why do you need 37 bikes? You know what? Go and buy 20. Buy 21. Mm-hmm. You've got one for your instructor. You've got another 20 there. You're getting 15 people. Great. You've got an additional 5. Start with that. Over time, you can add a couple more.
Exactly.
Look at doing that. Is an opportunity right now if clubs are looking to purchase any type of equipment or replace any type of equipment in the Group X space, don't replace number for number. Unless you need to right now, save some money. Start off smaller and then gradually, step by step, increase it out and look at what's going on. I think the big thing that I've noticed recently with clubs that I'm talking to is, I don't know if you remember this, back in the day, Les Mills Group Fitness Management Seminar used to talk about time factors to make sure that your off-peak classes and your peak classes were rated the same. So you weren't sort of, you were comparing apples to apples, not an apple to a kiwi fruit type thing, or an apple to a grape type thing. You need to make sure that it's being done right. A lot of the clubs I've spoken to recently aren't doing that anymore. And they're getting incorrect figures. An off-peak time slot that's getting 5 people compared to a peak time slot that may be getting 15 people is probably as good. When you look at the time factor and you add all that stuff in, that's something that really, really makes a difference to what's happening in that Group X space. So that, and now more than ever, I'd say is when you need to be looking at that to get a real accurate figure on what is happening. We know that we're seeing attendance, as we alluded to before, attendance starting to increase slowly. People are slowly starting to come back, and with the records you guys are keeping, you can see that happening. For some of the smaller independently owned gyms, that's some stuff which I think they need to look at as well.
Yes.
I think that's as a regional manager, I know that it's coming from you guys as well, but I think that's something I'd like to be able to pass on to listeners is, guys, look at that stuff as well. If the big chains are doing it, you guys need to do it too. Yeah, it's vital. It's important to actually be looking at every aspect of what we're doing in that space. Yeah.
It's good business sense.
Yeah. That's the easy way to put it. Business sense. Yes. You summed that one up well for me. I like it. Hey, what does the future hold for you, mate? What are your plans? What's happening?
Look, the future for me, constant evolution and adaptation.
I like it.
Because I feel for myself, I like to constantly change and do something, not change what I'm doing, as in like, I'm no longer doing that. Like, how can I explain this? Grow and improve the quality of what I'm doing and my own skills.
No, look, I appreciate that because that comes back to my thing before I was saying about self-awareness. Yeah. We can't, if we sit and we do the same shit day in, day out, week in, week out, we're going to get bored. We're not going to be doing this anymore.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's the pivot.
Yeah.
The moment where we've got to look at what we're doing to make sure we're staying accurate, staying current, staying on brand, staying however you want to use that terminology, whatever terminology is right there, but making sure we evolve as people. You know, there's always, if you're not learning, really? Yeah. I have this conversation with Leah daily. Yeah, she's 6.5, man. She's in first class at school. She learns something every single day. And she's like, but Daddy, you know it all. I'm like, Daddy thinks she knows it all. Ask Rachel. No, Daddy doesn't know it all. But no, ask Tony himself, third person, good one. Ask me myself. And if I'm not learning something every day, you know, there's something wrong. I listen to podcasts. I listen to other people's stuff every day. I try and make sure that I take 1 or 2 big points of something throughout the day that I've learned. You know, the day that I stop doing that, I'm hoping that it's going to be because I've got Alzheimer's. You know, I don't want to ever stop learning something, because you evolve, as we're saying, you evolve as a person, and there's always stuff that I don't know.
Mhm.
You know, you don't know what you don't know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And with that, you learn a new way to do it, or a different spin on it, or there's a different interpretation of it. If we go back to when PPCA free music first started, and we were teaching, let's use body pump, and we could only use Don't Speak
Yep.
for the backtrack for
Yep.
what was it, 3 months or something. If you taught that track exactly the same way for that 3-month period, oh my God.
Yep.
If you were going in every day that you were teaching and teaching it differently, you probably would have given up teaching
Yes.
at that point.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing. And I like to say to people, if you think you know it all, or you've gotten to where you can be, you've probably got your eyes closed.
Yeah.
Because
Yes.
there's no end
Yes.
point.
Yeah.
There's no end point.
Yep.
There's no pinnacle of like, oh, I've made it here. That's it. That's all I have to do.
Yeah.
It's like, no,
Yeah.
because the landscape changes.
Yep. Yep. It's weird, you know. I last weekend we watched To Infinity and Beyond, Buzz Lightyear, and Lightyear, and oh my God, there's so much more in that movie than just a cartoon. You know, a character, just, you know, whatever. There was so much more that went well over Leah's head. She got the kid side of thing, but sitting there watching it just blew my mind. There was so much more that you take away from that movie, which what you're saying, there's always learning, always stuff to learn. And if you're not learning, yeah, your eyes are shut, or you're not paying attention for whatever reason. You've switched off because you're bored or whatever the hell it may be. But there's always stuff there. Hey, last question I'm going to throw at you. You ready? You holding on?
Ooh. Okay.
What bit of advice can you give to an instructor that might be listening who wants to improve on what they're doing right now?
Okay. So this can lead me down a rabbit warren of things to do.
I got time.
Okay. To improve on what they're doing now and develop their own skills, number one, work out ultimately why you're doing what you're doing. Why did you start teaching? Why do you get up in front of people and teach? And then once you can identify that, film your classes. Okay, I'm going to be 100% honest and say, when I first started filming my own classes for self-assessment, and we as TAP team members, we have to submit tracks for our colleagues to be able to view and deliver feedback so we can help develop each other. Self-assessment is number one tool for you to actually see what you're doing.
Yep.
Because anyone can tell you, oh, you're doing this, you're doing that, you're doing this, but you won't believe it until you see it and you hear it for yourself. Because I know we're strangers, human beings. We don't like to believe it until we see it for ourselves.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
So whether it be Bigfoot, a ghost, or the way we teach,
Yep.
you know, it's all the same, right?
Yeah, sure.
So watch some tracks of the class. Be prepared for your own voice when you hear it and how you move. Don't get hung up on tearing yourself apart.
Yep.
Set yourself a goal of, okay, what are two things I did really well in that one track? Two things. Okay, what are two things that I can improve on for next time I teach that track? Keep it really simple. You don't need to reinvent the wheel.
Yep.
It's like, what are two simple things that I can introduce before I teach that track again? And then try it.
Yep.
Experiment in class. You'll know if something lands
Yeah.
because
Yes.
people will do what you want them to do.
Yeah.
If it doesn't land, they'll just stare at you blankly and
Yeah.
be like, "Well, that was a
What?
really crap
Huh?
joke.
Yeah.
What was that?"
But hang on, that was my best dad joke.
I know. Yeah, keep it really simple and baby steps.
Yep.
You don't, like you said earlier, Rome wasn't built in a day.
Yeah. So true. So
Yeah.
true. Mate, thank you. I appreciate that. I'm going to say I honestly have enjoyed the last hour and 20 minutes of sitting here chatting to you and getting to know you better than I did. As I said in the beginning, our paths had crossed as though I'd known who you are. I've sort of, as I've said to a lot of the guests, your coffee shop's over there, or you're on next type thing at workshops or whatever it may be. And I know you and Rach have had a friendship that I've known more about you through Rach as well. But mate, I appreciate you spending an hour and a bit of your afternoon chatting to me and getting to know you better and sharing your story for the guys that are listening on Group X. So thank you.
Thank you, Tony. Thank you for doing all this for not only instructors to hear, but people who are in operational roles, in support roles, club roles, or people that might even just be interested in getting into the industry. These are great things for people to hear and just help spark that love and interest for what we do. So thank you.